Nobody did it better. Greatness in the sport of golf is defined by performances in major championships. No player in the history of the game ever played in more or won more than Jack Nicklaus. He played in his first PGA championship in 1962. In all, he played in 37 PGA championships and won 5. Jack played in a record 45 consecutive U.S. Opens, beginning in 1957 and concluding in 2001. He won 4 U.S. Open championships, tying the record of Willie Anderson, Bobby Jones, and Ben Hogan for most U.S. Opens won. Jack's first trip to Augusta National was in 1969. In all, he played in 46 Masters tournaments, winning 6, a record which may last forever. The most difficult major championship for Jack to win was the British Open. He played in 38 championships and won 3. The first hole Jack played in a major championship was at the 1957 U.S. Open at Inverness, which he birdied. 166 major championships later, the final hole played was at the home of golf, the 18th of the legendary links at St. Andrews. To the enormous delight of a world of friends, fans, and admirers, Jack Nicklaus ended his major championship play the way he started, a magnificent birdie. Even though Jack has hung up his spurs as a competitive golfer, he is anything but retired. In fact, in some ways, he's busier than ever. Jack's principal business activity these days is designing golf courses, which he has done since the mid-60s. To date, Jack Nicklaus has designed 242 courses, which are open for play worldwide. Nicklaus designed courses can be found in 37 states and 28 countries. At least 45 Nicklaus design courses are ranked on various national and international top 100 lists. By any standard, Jack Nicklaus is one of the most prolific and highly acclaimed designers of his generation. In fact, he has often said that his greatest legacy in the game will not be his playing record, but the great courses he leaves behind for generations to follow. The Golf Channel is proud to present Jack Nicklaus, the Architect. Today, Jack introduces us to his new course, The Concession, in Sarasota, Florida. Geographically, Sarasota is located on the west coast of Florida, a beautiful 60-mile drive south of Tampa. Sarasota's 600 square miles extend from rustic ranch land to the shores of Sarasota Bay, which feature 35 miles of some of the most beautiful white sand beaches in the world. Combined with its neighboring community Bradenton, Sarasota is the second fastest growing area in America. This is a very special occasion because Jack is opening a new signature course done in rare combination with another, in this case, his longtime friend, Tony Jacklin.
The reason for the concession really came in 1969 at the Ryder Cup matches, and Tony and I were all even going to the last hole. He had just holed a putt clear across the green at 17. I had him 1 down with 2 to play, and we now go to the last hole even. We both looked at each other. We both said we were petrified. That was fair enough. We got down to the green, and Tony was outside me on the green. I had about a 20 or 25 footer. Tony putted the ball up, you know, somewhere in this range. He'll call it 2 feet, I called it 20 inches. Whatever it was never a putt he was going to miss, but I made him mark it. I got up and I said, well, I'm going to win. The Ryder Cup match is here for the U.S., and I hit a nice little putt and ran it 4.5 feet behind the hole. Gulp, I must say. Anyway, I got up and I holed the putt. As I hold the putt, I just looked down and I said, well, the matches are even. There's no way in the world I'm going to make Tony Jacklin putt this putt. And so I picked up the coin and handed it to him, and, you know, little did I know that for giving somebody a 20-inch putt, there was going to be a big gesture. Well, anyway, this golf course is a result of that gesture, I suppose, and Tony felt that way about it. And when Tony and Kevin came to me with the idea of the concession, I said, well, that sounds like a lot of fun to me. I don't know whether anybody will ever come out and watch it or not, but look at all you people out here.
What we were asking Jack to do was something that was different than what he'd ever done before, in that this is a signature course of which he doesn't ever affiliate with anybody else. So we needed to lay it out and why he should, and let Tony be in association with the design. And Jack kind of looked at me and he said, well, you know, I only do these signature golf courses by myself. And I said, I know that. And he winked at me and said, but I'll concede it one more time.
Tony and I did the golf course together. It was a lovely piece of property. We had a lot of wetlands on the property, and we had a lot of sloughs and oak trees, things that had to be preserved. We think it's a strong golf course from the back and a very user-friendly golf course from the members' tees. It's almost about 7,500 yards from the back and probably about 66 from the members' tees. We decided to start off the match, since it's called a concession, we decided to start off with a concession. I'm going to play the back tees and Tony's going to play the members' tees. And the reason for the concession is not because Tony can't play the back tees, and it's not because I can't play those, because I played 4 rounds of golf since the British Open, and they've all been up there on members' tees. But I thought you ought to see the golf course from here, and we thought you ought to see the golf course from there. And if we played both tees, you wouldn't see really what the golf course was all about. And to show you that this golf course is a very difficult golf course from the back and a very user-friendly golf course from the front. And that's what we wanted to try to show you here.
So with the stage set, it's time for Jack to introduce his latest design.
The opening hole here is 428 yards from back here, probably about 360 yards from the members' tees. And we've got that bunker on the left, which can be a carry bunker. It's one that you have to make up your mind whether not into the wind today, probably not, but you could probably carry that bunker. The gorillas can carry that bunker, I can't. The other 2 bunkers are more framing bunkers. The green is, the tighter you play to the left bunker, the better angle you're going to have into the green. So now I'm going to start off with a commemorative golf club here that I give to the club, Kevin, for you and Richard. And it's a copy of a driver that I used back in the mid-'70s. And it'll show you why I don't play these anymore, or anybody else does either. The reasons I like to use this club is because I can always get a mulligan. Okay, let's see what happens with this thing.
Pretty good hit.
Not bad. Only 30 yards short of the bunker.
Well, the member tee here, although the wind's slightly against today, I should be able to clear the bunker there on the left side, a thing I cannot do off the back tee.
There you go.
Okay. We're off and running.
79 Nicklaus design courses have hosted over 500 professional or national amateur championships. Jack Nicklaus, the architect at The Concession, is brought to you by BASF, Callaway Golf, and the Concession Golf Club. Welcome back to Jack Nicklaus, the architect, at the Concession Golf Club in Sarasota, Florida.
Back at the first hole, Tony Jacklin's tee shot found Jack's strategically placed fairway bunker, leaving him an approach shot of 140 yards. However, one of the toughest shots in golf is executed very nicely by the 1969 British Open and 1970 U.S. Open champion, leaving him this 15-foot birdie putt.
Very nice. I don't know why you bothered to putt it. I would have given it to you.
Jack himself has selected specific holes as examples of his design strategy on par 3s, 4s, and 5s. We pick up the action again on the par 3, 6th hole.
This hole here from the back is 183 yards. And what we try to do on a golf course is try to give variety within your par 3s. On the par 3s, I try to take my directions and mix them up as much as I can. In other words, you're going to have different winds on a golf course. And some days you're going to play into the wind on one, but you'll play downwind on another one. And the wind will change, and it's obviously the opposite. Try to get a balance, a short par 3, a couple middle ones, and one longish par 3. We try to get a balance within the golf course. That's to me what makes a good design. You don't want to try to favor a left-to-right player or a right-to-left player. You don't want to favor a short hitter or a long hitter. You want to try to give everybody a little bit of something, and that's what we try to do. This particular hole here, we created this hole out of a very beautiful natural area, but if we had just gone ahead and put the hole in here without creating something else, I think we would have done an injustice to this beautiful area. I think the water and the little wetlands area here really enhances and brings out the beauty of the oak trees and the way the bunkers and the green sits in here. Wind's pretty much right to left. 2 more clubs than I used to play.
You might get there with a 5.
Not me.
No?
I won't get there with a 5-iron anymore. I won't even get over the water with a 5-iron. I may not get over the water with this 4-iron. Tony, I hit it nowhere anymore. Now, there's as good as I can hit a 4. We'll see if it carries the bunker.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
I don't think it'll carry the bunker. Oh, got lucky. I got lucky. Here's a perfect example of the member's hole. Now, all of a sudden, the member comes down here and he's got 44 yards to the middle of the green, 154 to the hole. Totally different golf hole.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. I mean, even if you're my age, and you got to play it out here to the left, you got 100 yards to carry the water. One of the things we do with the women, if this is too hard for you, seriously, very simple, we can put one right over there. And that's what we do a lot. In other words, I try not to give women more than a 75-yard carry. I think that's the dead max. 60 yards is probably the average of what we try to give, but I don't want to give you too long a carry. So a lot of times we'll go into a hole, if a hole looks like it's too difficult, we can add an alternate tee. And we do that a lot. And I just want to make sure that everybody can play the golf course. That's what it's all about.
And now Tony from the members' tee.
Pulled it. Pulled it. Get down. Get down.
That's on a green.
Another
green.
one? Just off the edge.
Yeah, it might be on the fringe.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Are there any par 3s around the world that influence your views on par 3s?
There are a lot of par 3s that I've taken and used the concept. I've used the concept of the postage stamps. I've used the concept of the 12th at Augusta.
Yeah.
I've used the concept of the 4th at Riviera. Certainly, obviously, the golf that we both have played around the world, we've seen a lot of holes, and that's got to be in your head. But I really let the land dictate to me what the hole should be, because there's never ever going to be another exactly a place like the 12th at Lytham or the 12th at Augusta.
Sure.
Right, but there's concepts that you use, and so I've used concepts 1,000 times, and then apply it to the concept or the strategy to the piece of ground that we're on.
Jack's 4-iron came to rest 15 feet behind the hole, and following Tony's par, this was his birdie attempt.
Hello.
Oh!
We made it.
For you folks that can't see where the pin was, there it was.
The next hole is a magnificent dogleg left 606-yard par 5 from the back tees. And then the 8th, a 374-yard par 4. Jack striped his tee shot down the middle of the fairway and then described this beautiful dogleg right.
The 8th hole here, we had sort of a pine forest and got down to an oak grove, an oak hammock here. And there was a drainage ditch that went along in a straight line right at the edge of the oak hammock. And we got permission to meander the little drainage ditch, and so I brought it out away from the oak trees and brought it around so then I could put the green on the other side of the creek, the other side of this ditch, and then use the oaks as a background. I mean, if you want to talk about being inspired by a hole, I think the 14th at Muirfield Village was a little bit of my inspiration, in that it's a hole that has a meandering creek through it. It has a green that's relatively narrow. If you hit the ball and bail it left, the green pitches for the most part from the bunkers to the water. It's a very, very difficult little shot. Now this one does a little bit of the same. It has a few places that it goes off the other side. But this is a green that you're either going to hit it on or you're in trouble. If you're standing back here, I've only got 92 yards to the pin, and I'm sitting here shaking. You can't see it, but it's underneath these pants. My legs are shaking.
Pretty good.
Oh,
Good shot.
thank you.
What about the balance of the par 4s, Jack, on your golf courses? Do you like to balance them in terms of dog legs or distances? What's the...
Well, I balance them from a dogleg standpoint. I try to. Early on, I had people came to me, you know the pros where they came, oh, I can see Nicklaus was here, it's all left to right. I don't think I was born yesterday. I can understand that. I figured it out that, that there's many people that hit right to left as they do left to right, or more so right to left. So I try to take a balance of left to right and right to lefts. I think this golf course is pretty even that way. I like to have a balance of short fours and a balance of long fours. And my favorite holes in golf course, frankly, are the short fours. Yeah. I think because anybody can play a short four. Doesn't matter what the challenge is, no matter how far you hit it, you can always play it if you play the right shot. This little hole here and the 12th hole in this golf course, they're both cute little fours. One's a little dogleg right, one's a little dogleg left. This one you can't drive, 12 you can drive. Yeah. And I think they're just really fun little holes, and I like them a lot. I think
you can make a 3 as easy as you can make a 6. I mean,
you probably make the 6 easier.
Easier, yeah, that's right.
But you can make a 3 if you play 2 good shots.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm an Ohio boy, so we brought Ohio sand to Florida. This comes from Chardon, Ohio, the sand. And it's the sand we have at Muirfield. It's the sand we have at probably, I suppose, 15 of our golf courses. This will firm up and it'll play very, very nicely. It's, I always like to have sand. You know how you take, a lot of times you take a bunker shot and there's no bottom to it? Well, I hate that. That's because it's round and it just never sets up. This sand here will finally settle in, and it'll compact underneath and get firm underneath. You work the top, which means when you hit a bunker shot, the flange of the club will hit the firm and bounce out of it and through it, but yet it's soft enough on top that your club will go through it.
So for Jack Nicklaus, talk is cheap, and at no extra charge, the gallery gets a little demonstration from the master.
What I find with the Pro Angle sand is that if you're shallow with your shot, if you're shallow, you won't bounce. But if you get very vertical, it bounces once it firms up. I always get in the sand, and I always get fairly up. And I haven't hit a bunker shot this year, so this will be the first one. Wasn't bad. Am I stupid enough to do it again? Let's see if I'm stupid enough to do it again. This sand's a little bit left. That wasn't bad, was it?
As you recall, before the sand demonstration, Jack played this beautiful approach shot to the 8th.
You're going to walk away from my first birdie?
No respect.
No respect for my first birdie.
Installed into all 18 greens at Concession is an advanced aeration system that is activated when the moisture content exceeds specified levels. It also monitors the temperature, salinity, oxygen, and pH levels of the greens. It is one of only 2 in the country with a system in every green.
When we return, Jack and Tony continue their tour of the Concession with a look at the Inward 9, and developer Kevin Daves provides a preview of coming attractions.
We continue with Jack Nicklaus, the architect.
The clubhouse here at the Concession is currently under construction, but as developer Kevin Daves describes, when members approach their second shot at the finishing hole, this is what they'll see framing the 18th green.
The clubhouse is about 30-some thousand square feet. It's designed in kind of a Palladio design, a classical design. It's long and narrow stretches over the golf course. The clubhouse is important to us mainly because, unlike most golf courses, we don't have any residential on the golf course. You'll sit in the verandas and overlook the 18th and the 10th fairways, and there's no homes, no rooftops, nothing but trees, which is the spectacular part of it. It's going to be a big part of the statement of what the Concession is.
And what the Concession is all about is detail, from the imported sand to 34,000 bales of pine straw, to the use of teakwood on every hole, the executive tee huts, course signage, benches, and the engraved bag stands on the practice range commemorating significant Ryder Cup moments. The teakwood theme extends well beyond the golf course and on a grand scale. Jack's 22-inch Concession in the 1969 Ryder Cup has literally launched this 53-foot Concession, a fully featured Celine yacht, docked just minutes from the golf course, an amenity available to all members. And from the Sarasota Bay, we return to the Concession, where Jack and Tony are ready to present their back nine.
Okay, here's the 10th hole. And what we've done here is there's a bunker that's out about 275 yards on the left side of the fairway. And the water sort of angles along short on the left and works away from you on the right. It's about, from the back tee here, you got to hit it 250 yards up the right center of the fairway, which for most of the guys that play from back here, that's not going to be too far. But the whole key to this hole, you obviously put it in the fairway as a place to put it, but the whole key to this hole is the bunker up by the green. The bunker up by the green works its way up into the green. And if you bail out left on your tee shot, the green actually goes away from you. So the more you work it to the right, the more you challenge the water, the better shot or clear shot you've got coming into the green, so you don't have to come in over the bunker onto a downslope with the green going away from you. Now, I understand there's going to be people that's going to do that, so I put fairway behind the green. I've let the fairway run up behind the green, so really your bailout approach here is almost beyond the green, so you have a nice chip back. But 410 yards is not a long hole, so it shouldn't play very long. So if I were playing in a tournament and I had a downwind, I would probably play this with a 3-wood to take the bunker out of play, but still not leaving me such a long shot that I could get into the green. Today, I'll try to take it off the bunker because I can't hit a 3-wood far enough to get it over the water. Try to slip it just to the right of the bunker and try to edge it towards the water to get a better angle into the pin. We'll just take a little shot here and see what happens.
Perfect.
I slipped a little too far left.
No,
it's okay.
And from the members' tees about 40 yards up, Tony rips it over the water, past the bunker,
perfect,
and rolls it to position A.
Okay, so now you can see that I said don't hit it on the left side of the fairway, because this is the angle you got. It's a tougher shot. I really hit a good one from here. Not a clue.
What's Jack? What's your philosophy on blind holes?
I like a tease every once in a while.
Yeah.
I don't like it too often. I first started doing golf courses with Pete Dye, and I sort of liked what Pete said. He says golf's a much more pleasant game played downhill, meaning downhill holes you can see where you're going, you know what you're doing, and you take your distance up between the green and the tees. But every once in a while, I play an uphill shot or a shot like this here at 10. Now, if you hit the ball out here where your tee shot, which is fine, you see up the green. You have a little bit of tees behind the left side, but not much. Or if you hit the left side of the fairway, then you had to tease it over the bunker.
But this, a hole like this, just puts a little doubt, because you can't see the bottom of the hole.
It's
in the mind of
a
the
little
player.
mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
A little tease.
Yeah.
Tony played his second shot over the green and his chip back, leaving himself a putt for a par. This is Jack's birdie attempt.
I thought I had it.
So did I, till you
Right
hit
up until the time I hit it.
That's good. Pick it up. Pick it up. They always go in when you do that.
Except if you try that in a tournament. And when somebody says they're in the leather on your putter, which one is it?
That leather.
Huh?
That leather.
Now let's see here. Let me see my putt again. I want to know. Let's see if it's in the leather. No, it's in this side. Isn't this leather? Right?
We just call it the circle of friendship.
Okay.
Perhaps you knew Muirfield Village, Desert Mountain, and Castle Pines are Nicklaus Design's signature courses. Perhaps you didn't know Moon Palace, Reflection Bay, Pronghorn, and Cabo del Sol are as well.
Coming up, the par 3 11th, and Tony questioning Jack about his club selection.
I was going to ask you, being such a traditionalist with a hybrid club,
We continue with Jack Nicklaus, the architect, at the Concession Golf Club in Sarasota, Florida.
I've got about a 210-yard shot here, and you can see this water runs along diagonally to the right, a little bunker in the front. And here we have a lot of bailout, and the green just goes away from you into a fairway to the left and behind the green. Pretty little golf hole, and I've got an 18-degree Nicklaus high max. That's what we call it. Let's see what happens. About 210 yards. Better hit it, hadn't I? Oh, that was a beauty. Watch out. Watch out on the left. Let's see, I need a practice shot.
Do a practice.
Hey, go right ahead, Tony.
I was going to ask you, being such a traditionalist with a hybrid club, what's your, again, your,
Well,
you know,
I either hit this or I hit my 2-iron. That's like my 15th club. I can hit this. I don't want that one. I'll hit this one. Well, we sell those silly things. I got to do it every once in a while.
that's the answer I wanted.
This is a 2-iron. I haven't hit a 2-iron since the British Open. See, why wouldn't I have hit that?
That's right. Great hit.
To be very honest with you, I forgot that I brought it with me. That's the honest truth. I forgot I had it in the bag.
And then from the members' tee, Tony selects a 5-iron from 175 yards.
Get down. Might be too far.
Tony's tee shot trickled over the green, but his flat stick was on the money.
Nice shot there, Mr. Tony.
Thank you.
To Jack Nicklaus, one of the longest drivers of his generation, a reachable par 4 adds nuance to a course design. Number 12 here at the Concession is just such a hole.
This particular hole is a little dogleg left, but it's over a wetland. And it's about 270 yards, I suppose, to carry the wetland. So from the members' tees, you got 230 yards to carry the wetland. And then you got an avenue to get into the green. I mean, short par 4s that you can drive, I think, are fun, but they've got to have enough spice in them. And I'm going to hit 2 balls. If I play this hole first with a 2-iron and put it out here to the width in the short fairway, I should have a hard shot in. Should be a fairly easy 4. I have to make a really good shot to make 3. But the good player who's strong enough, which most of the young players are today, they'll take it at this green probably every time.
That's a perfect spot.
Okay, so that's a 2-iron. Now that shouldn't be too bad a spot.
Couldn't place it better.
And now let me hit a driver just for the heck of it. I'll sort of imitate a long hitter and move up a little further so that I may have a chance from here to get it there. That's as far up as I can get.
You hit the hell out of it, but I don't think it's over.
Oh, that's over.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Jack selects to play his first tee shot, perfectly placed in the fairway, about 120 yards out.
Get up. Get up. We're shy.
Both Jack and Tony managed to avoid all 6 bunkers surrounding the 12th green. Tony had a makeable birdie putt, and his putter remained hot.
I'm going to have to start playing
Now,
some tournament. Great greens, Jack.
that's all I remember about you is ass and elbows.
Yeah, I know.
Over the years, Jack's expanded his prolific course design business to include residential development as well, After seeing what developers Kevin Days and Richard Lamb were creating here at the concession, Jack and a very trusted partner wanted in on a piece of the action.
We kind of looked at what kind of, how much value Nicklaus Design was creating to developers all around the world, and that the family really wasn't participating in that. The idea was to kind of bring the family in and have a family-created project and add value by the family's involvement. My sister has an interior design business with my mother, and we designed some homes, and Bill has a landscape design for the re-veg on the golf course. The Nicklaus family is involved, and we're doing this, and we're doing it basically from soup to nuts, except for putting the sticks and stones up, to make the houses.
Scheduled to open in the summer of 2006, the Cap Cana Resort in the Dominican Republic features 3 Nicklaus signature designs and sold $63 million in home sites in one day.
When we return, Jack reveals his par 5 design strategy and gives some credit where credit is due. Welcome back to the Concession Golf Club in Sarasota, Florida, and the course's inaugural round of golf played by designers Jack Nicklaus and Tony Jacklin.
13th hole. This to me is a classic par 5 of risk-reward, risk-reward. If you want to get home in 2 here, you've got to challenge the lake. There's a bunker out there that says you bail out, then you're going to be penalized a little bit. You can play it as a 3-shot hole pretty easily. You can play it out to the right, play it down to the left of the green, then you got the length of the green to play up. But if you want to get home, you got to gamble the water, gamble the sea of bunkers in front of the green, play it into the narrow part of the green and not down the length of the green. This is one of my favorite holes in the golf course. It's not long, it's only 545 yards. By today's standards, that's not long. I think even I can get there in 2 if I hit a nice tee shot.
And here's Tony on the 13th, again from the members' tee.
503 yards and a completely different strategy to Jack's. My line is along the lake as opposed to over it. So
not only that, but you can probably, if you hit it 225 yards, you can carry the whole lake.
Is that in the trap? I don't know.
Tony's caddy today, his son Sean.
But if you hit all the balls that Sean wants you to hit, you'll really be worn out tonight. Oh, boy. So now we've driven it here, theoretically, where I've got a 215-yard shot to get to the front of the green. Pin's about 230 yards up there.
You want me to come over there?
And I've got a 4-wood, which means I've got to carry it over to stop it. I'm hitting in the narrow part of the green, so I've got to have something that I'm going to be able to throw in the air. There's a big deep hollow behind this green, so you really don't want the ball coming in here hot. So what we want to do is try to throw it up, see if we can make it land softly to stop it on the green. That's after you've taken advantage of the tee shot. By taking advantage of the tee shot, then you have the ability to gamble on the second.
Yeah. Great shot.
Perfect tee shot, perfect second.
Jack, Bobby Jones, a man both you and I admire greatly, when he did Augusta, I believe he tried to make all 4 par 5s reachable in 2. What's your thoughts on that?
I like reachable par 5s. I think they're fun. They're exciting. I hardly think that all of Augusta's par 5s are reachable today. They've changed the golf course. I always thought 13 was one of the great holes in the game of golf. I just always loved it. It didn't take strength to play it. It's fitted around the corner, driver, 3-wood, whatever your appetite took, and then then the demanding second shot. It's an iron. Or if you bail out a little bit in the tee shots, you might have to hit a 4-wood or something and play a pretty fancy shot. But I always thought that was a great hole, and I think it's still a great hole. But it's I like reachable par 5s. I think that they put some excitement in the game. There's nothing more boring than play a golf course for 4 par 5s or 600 yards and you're hitting driver, 3-wood. 6-iron to go. I don't think that's much fun.
So the balance in a like here, I mean, I think we've got a couple of par 5s that are imminently reachable, 17 on a given day. So you would try and make 2 and 2, maybe 2 out of range and 2 within range.
What I really like is 1 par 5 that's probably reachable most of the time by 2 good shots. 2 par 5s that under the right conditions are reachable, in 2 shots. And the third one, rarely should it be reached. It should be designed as a 3-shot hole. I think the perfect example, and one hole I love the most is probably the 17th at Baltusrol. 17th at Baltusrol is a multiple penalty hole. If you hit a tee shot, you hit it out short of the cross bunker. You hit your second shot short of the stuff in front of the green, you pitch it on the green. If you miss a tee shot and you put it in one of the other bunkers or in the rough, then it's a decision whether you can get over the cross bunkers or not. And if you lay it up short of the cross bunkers, then you shouldn't be able to get it to the green. So you've caused yourself a penalty. You're always trying to catch up. And I always liked that. I always thought that it meant not only playing golf with strength and golf shots, but playing with your head. And I think you should. I think that most all my golf courses, I try to make a person use their head. I think that's the fun part of playing golf.
And here's Tony's third to the par 5, 13th.
Ooh, nice.
And with this 12-footer for a birdie, Tony continues his putting clinic.
I understand. I'm a terrible putter normally, and all of a sudden.
Okay, smack on you.
How do you use this thing?
I mean,
here, like this?
Yeah.
What do you do with it? Then you have to take it back and hit it? You don't have to do it, you can't do it by yourself?
I'll tell you what.
That's the first one I ever hit with one of these things.
To Jack Nicklaus, the unsung heroes of his profession are the golf course superintendents. So Jack pulls Concession's Terry Kennelly onto center stage in the BASF Superintendent Spotlight.
Terry Kennelly is my caddy and also the superintendent here at Concession. And we work with Terry in selecting the grasses for the golf course. We've got Tift Eagle on the greens. We've got Tift Sport on the fairways. We've got Bahia around the rough areas. We've got native grasses around the other areas. And what I like to do on a golf course is I like to include the superintendent in the decision of the grasses of the golf course. All the condition you're looking at here has been accomplished. We started out here 10 months ago. There was nothing here. We started in about the last 5 months. Terry's been on the grasses, and we finished 3 months ago with all the grassing. So whatever condition you see this golf course, it's a job well done, Terry.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Outside the U.S., Japan holds the distinction of having the most Jack Nicklaus designs with 24. Domestically, Florida leads with 28.
When we return, the creator faces his 18th creation.
486. Little short par 4 here. Do we need a driver?
Welcome back to Jack Nicklaus, the architect.
486. Little short par 4 here. 486. Into the wind. Tight. Lots of water. Lots of trees. Tough golf hole. There's sort of a waste bunker on the right with the lake beyond it, and then framing bunkers on the left. Then, of course, the water runs down to the green runs around it. Strong finishing hole. The good Lord designed this hole.
Great hit. Never hit it better.
That's as good as I can hit it. What there is of it, it's not bad. There's not enough of it.
What, Jack, What are you looking for on your courses in a finishing hole?
I prefer a good, strong par 4.
Yeah.
But I have par 4s. Sabonic is a par 5 that we just did. I've got a lot of golf courses that are par 5s. Desert Highlands, par 5. Desert Mountains, par 5. You know, I've got a variety, but whatever the land gives me. In other words, I think that the 18th hole really, I don't think you should be too hung up on what the 18th hole is. I think you get hung up on what the hole 9 is, and how does the 18th hole as a piece of it, and as a finishing piece of it, not necessarily the 18th hole and then build off of it.
Yeah. Presumably, you don't want the final hole to be into the sunset, as it were. There must be some thought goes into that.
I would hope so, yeah. We don't want to start to the east, you don't want to finish to the west. But no, you always consider the morning sun, you consider the prevailing winds, you consider on the start and the finish, you consider it for the practice range. I mean, most people don't really, but they fit a practice range in what's left. I like to have a practice range where the wind is coming off the right, because I think that most people are right-handed, they play into it. But then we usually try to get tees at the other end, so you know, if the wind switches the other way, you can practice off of that, or the left-hander can do what he needs to do. So I think the whole complex needs to be fit with the wind and the sun and the terrain.
Well, I've seen firsthand here how much thought goes into it, and there's a heck of a lot.
Well, we've had fun here. It's a good golf course, and I think it's going to only get better over time.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
And in time, perhaps we'll see Tony's son, Sean, compete in a championship here at the Concession. Jack graciously gives the 14-year-old a chance to show his stuff.
Driving contest, Sean Jacklin and Tony Jacklin. There you go. Okay. Okay, Pop, chase that one. I remember my dad, as I was growing up, he says,
It's going this way.
he said, yeah, I'll drive that when I get you a new Cadillac convertible. Well, at 13, he shut up. Never got the Cadillac convertible either.
I like it.
Sean, he hit his absolute best, and I don't know, but it's going to be close.
What are your favorite 18th holes? I mean, if you have any. I mean,
oh, Tony, I never really had. I think you go from the 18th to St. Andrews.
Yeah.
Which is really a nothing hole.
No.
But it's a wonderful hole because of what it is.
So unique, isn't it?
It's so unique. Or you take the 18th hole at Riviera, and you know I always love the tee shot. Even though it's a blind uphill shot, I like the tee shot the way it's set into the hill and the green sets into the clubhouse. Yeah. I think it's a setting of golf holes more than the golf hole themselves. The 18th hole at Pebble Beach is a memorable golf hole because of where it sits. You know, I don't really think much about the 18th hole. I just think of holes, period. And to me, what the rotation is on the golf course, there's been a lot of great finishing holes.
The Concession practice facility covers over 21 acres, has a 380-yard driving range, a 14,000 square foot green, and is one of the largest in the world.
A heartfelt thanks lies ahead on the 18th green when Jack and Tony express their mutual admiration for each other and the golf course they've created.
Jack Nicklaus, the architect, at The Concession is brought to you by BASF, Nicklaus Golf Equipment, and the Concession Golf Club.
A familiar reception welcomes both Jack and Tony to the 18th green.
Now, it probably makes no difference, as I haven't made a putt yet, so what difference does it make? Never know. I usually make the last putt on the last hole. Never know. Close, huh? Well, I mean, I want to putt out. There's no concession here. No concession here. No concession here.
I conceded. That's about the length, Pope.
That's yours, son. That's yours, young man. There you go. There you go.
No one understands the significance of Jack's gesture nearly 4 decades ago better than the recipient himself, Tony Jacklin.
That's good.
Thank you.
And none better to summarize what this course represents than the two who shared that moment which inspired the concession.
This is the first golf course, to my knowledge, that's ever been built to memorialize a moment. And without your gesture, it would have been impossible. Without your friendship, it would have been impossible. And I want to thank you very much.
Well, Tony, thank you. Thank you for being part of this, and thank you for coming up with the idea of doing this. The idea of doing this came from you. You took it to Kevin, you brought it to me, and you know, I've enjoyed being part of it, enjoyed working with you, my friend, and we're going to have lots of years of pleasure, and I hope a lot of other people have a lot of years of pleasure out of this golf course.
God love you. Thank you.
Thank you. 36 years ago, we had a very special moment, and it's going to live on for many years to come.